Twitch.
And then
Hello.
after each other.
Everybody.
All right. So Froggy, you should be looking to scout from Winston. You probably hold shield up, it makes it a little bit easier, and then you miss the boop. That's fine. He jumps off anyways.
No,
This is really unfortunate.
no, I
This is
dropped.
really
I didn't want to drop. I remember that.
so that's a mistake. But okay, so you seem like you're a little bit kind of like oh shit, this is happening, and you were like kind of like excited, I guess almost. It's you should just try to play it more a little bit like calmer. You don't really have to bash in or anything like that. Like in Overwatch 1, 100% bash, right? Super great. It stuns, and this doesn't do that anymore. So
Also send launches you way further.
No, the
so
thing
you
is,
might
I
get
didn't want to
yourself.
shield bash at all. I wanted to just flail, but I had my other
A
button
flail is
on,
good.
so yeah.
But then also one thing I don't think you were thinking about is you hit your flail. I don't know if you hit or you missed. It doesn't really matter.
I
If
think
you hit, that's
I
awesome,
hit it.
right?
Yeah.
It's perfect because you're proccing Inspire, which is super important for keeping her on up.
I
But
mean
you
the
also,
whiplash. Yeah.
if you're giving like if there's a Sombra here and there's a monkey jumping and you even hear like a Genji might be coming in, maybe hopefully it's calm that there's a Genji too, right? You're gonna be wanting to give your Ana packs as well, and you had 3 packs when Sumu died, so that's not good. I know you did kind of like bash there, which really fucks you up. That makes it a lot harder to pack him. But it's something that's super important to look for. And then if you're able to pack Sumu, and Sumu's able to maybe get a dart into you, then both of you live. You drop down main, and both of you live. And then at that point, if you guys needed peel, you can do that. Other than that, you'll see me sitting main. I'm holding both their supports, and if you guys are able to kind of live, then maybe PSI is even there to help you. Like he's right there. You guys can win that fight, and then I'm zoning the supports the entire time, and you guys just all of a sudden instead of dying, you're winning the entire fight by yourselves. And it's literally just a support diff the entire enemy team. Like you guys 2v5s pretty much, right? So that's like the initial like packing and inspire uppage or like getting is super important, and it's something you have to look for. Other than that, I think on defense you did fine, for the most part. Because like you're here, you're peeling, which is fine. Tracer Caro, I need you to be with me, my guy. Let's watch pre-fight. How'd you take so much damage right away? I need to know this. Let's see. So okay, actually, I'm gonna pause real quick. Pause. Caro, I have a question for you. What do you want to do? What do you think your job is here?
I was expecting to be on Tracer. I was going to try to not let the Tracer just come up through here and then get it onto her supports on the high ground.
All right, that's perfect. That's perfect. Once you realize they're not on Tracer, what do you do then?
That's a good question.
All right, at that point, you're gonna go on the enemy supports with me. I don't know if you did that or not. I'm gonna be honest. Our supports kind of died really fast, so it doesn't really matter if you do or not. But it's important that you're there just in case our supports live, right? Because if or even if our supports do die, right? If you're there with me and we trade, then all of a sudden it's not a lost fight anymore, right? It's an even fight. So watch for it. I want to see what he does here. What does Kara do? Remember, he takes poke. You don't need to do this, by the way. Okay. Okay, this is a problem. Yeah, you're not with me. You're trying to you're playing the peel right now. Is kind of what you're doing from like a sniper point of view,
Yeah.
which isn't super good. It's important on Tracer that you're like committing, right? Like you're committing to whatever your idea is, right? So your idea could be, hey, I'm playing around this pack, I'm marking this Tracer, right? That's originally what you said you wanted to do, right? So it's perfect, right? You're zoning their Tracer. When they don't have that, you're either okay, I'm playing slow, maybe waiting to get a pack for my Brig, or I'm committing with my monkey. In this situation, you can't get packed by your Brig, so you have to commit. You're going. And you should have probably tried to avoid taking poke in the first place. That's something to look at. Can you also look at attack for this first point? That's like the second round.
Yeah.
It's pretty far. Because I know we made quite a few mistakes. This is more where the DPS stuff matters. Go back a bit.
Yeah.
Because I want to see where my DPS are. So, DPS. The idea for both of you, right, is Caro, you're trying to go around left side and you're trying to get an angle onto the supports, right, through all the way left. If they have a Tracer, Caro, and you're getting marked by the Tracer, you are not expected to commit. If you can get in, huge, awesome. If you break the Tracer's ankles, get past her or whatever, that's huge, sweet. You don't have to beat the Tracer when you're in attack. You're trying to get to the supports. Their Tracers just should be marking you. So if she's marking you, then you don't have to. You just have to try to live. All right. and then at that point, it's important you call that. It's important you call, hey guys, maybe I beat the tracer, or I got around the tracer, or the tracer is marking me. Whatever is happening for you, Kara, is super important for me as a Winston to know. Because if I get my tracer follow up, it's way easier for me to get picks. If I don't get my tracer follow up, I have to play a little safer, a little smarter. All right. Then PSI. I remember, or okay, I recall. I call to go in, right? I 3-2-1, and then you're meant to follow up with stickies. You're meant to go like maybe half a second later, right? The idea is you're like half a second behind, so they're all looking at me. If you go before me, then they all look at you, and then you die, right? So that's really bad. But you also can't be too delayed. Let's look at a dive where I go in. I know I take high ground here. This doesn't count as a dive. This is just me taking space for an easier engage. All right, this might be the problem. Okay, so so this is talk about soft dives here, right? It's super important as a dive comp that we're able to take space before we hard engage. So typically, you'll see someone like a Winston, if it's me, maybe it's Ants, we're going to take space on this first corner on Numbani, right? Like the first corner in high ground, because then it's way easier and shorter of a dive to the enemy backline. So that means, team, that we don't need to commit to this, right? Supports, you're going to have to be ready to keep your tank up, because your tank's obviously going to need help. He's doing a little bit of brawl here, but ultimately the tank's not trying to take too much damage. He's just trying to hold a bit of space. All right, PSI. Okay, so let's say you're a Winston dives here and taking high ground at the beginning, then you can go up there with him. So then you can help him hold that space. So this is like buying time for your tracer to rotate, and it's buying time, or it's buying like an easier angle for your Winston to dive. All right. At this point, then your Winston should call, hey, we're gonna hard commit 3-2-1, and then he goes, and then PSI goes, and then if Karu's ready, Karu goes. And then he supports both at main. And then Froggy might have to walk up a bit. Froggy might have to give packs. If their enemy Winston is marking the supports, which he should be, it's at that point where soon we can commit like sleep. Soon we might even be able to walk up early to get a good nade in when we're going for the initial dive. Otherwise, he can save nade for when the like Winston dives him at the end. But these are like the super important things that we should be looking for. And I'm giving like an example here on first point, right? Because this first point on Numbani is typically super hard to take. A lot of teams struggle to cap first on Numbani at all. But it's like it takes like the kind of like perfect understanding of how does each member on my team want to play, right? Everyone needs to know, hey, this is my job, this is what I'm doing. Because if you guys don't all understand that, then you shouldn't be able to take first. It takes a big mistake from the enemy for us to not know what we're doing but still be able to cap. It's at second point where it's like you'll have to take similar principles, but it's a little bit more lenient because the point is just easier to cap than first. But do we kind of
You
all
said
understand?
pack, but I'm on Mercy, so you want me to
Oh, are
stay
you
on
on
the?
Mercy? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm on Mercy. You want me to stay on the Echo, or because
Typically you'll pocket your Echo unless Asuma calls he's being dove. I think typically Brig is better here. I don't know if that's on the sheet or not. If it's not on the sheet, it's my bad.
if I was on Mercy, it's because I was told to be on Mercy.
No, it's okay. If you're on Mercy, it's fine. But typically Brig is better here because Brig can pack DPS. It's specifically
Okay.
for Tracer, it's really strong. And it makes winning like duels like Kara. I don't know if you call for packs when you're in a Tracer duel. If you're not, you should be calling for those. But like if you're able to pack your Tracer, it makes it way easier for Kara to win his duels. And then packs for Echo is still super strong. Obviously, it's not as good as a Mercy pocket, right? I'm sure PSI could tell you that, but it is still really good. And then also it's way easier for you to keep your support up. So Brig is right now in a pretty decent spot, and you should be looking to play Brig 90% of the time over Mercy. I'm sure there's times you can find Mercy better though. Okay, other than that, because that was actually a good point. Do we have any kind of questions about how we kind of like want to go through this point, or does anyone not understand?
Real quick. So you say like I'm on Tracer, I'm trying to go around and get marked by the anti Tracer. I can just like never get around them, never engage. So like what do I do? Do I just do nothing?
What do you do?
Just
You
keep
can just hold her there, and then the fight becomes a 4v4 rather than 5v5.
So yeah,
We become Overwatch 3.
it becomes really difficult for
Okay.
you, specifically in Tracer attacking this point, because Matt, if you turn around, you know the mini in the left room here. Most Tracers will play on defense, will play around this mini, and because of that, it makes it really hard for you to do anything because you can't take their mini. It's pretty impossible, and you're kind of out of range for your Brig to back you. So it's like kind of like try your best, save recall. But if you could somehow like either just beat her in the duel, even though she has many, or steal the many from her, Or if you could bait her into a spot where you're in range of your brig packs, then that would give you the advantage. Those are different kinds of things you can do. Honestly, it's really, really hard. Typically, what's going to happen is you're going to be over there dueling the Tracer, and then your Winston Echo are going to engage for you, and they'll make the engage. And then once your Winston Echo engage, the fight becomes a lot more scrappy. That's just how dive works. And then it's a lot easier for you to go find, hey, there's this Ana in the fucking middle of the points, or something like that. Or typically, like I told Sumu and Froggy, they should drop down main. If like me and PSI engage, right, and I call, hey, the supports drop main, then all of a sudden it doesn't make sense for you to try to take their high ground, so you don't have to fight for the high ground anymore, which means you don't have to worry about that Tracer having that many anymore. You can then try to play in a different spot where you're also going to be in your Briggs pack range. So that's kind of where it becomes a little bit easier for you. The beginning is like, if you can get in, sick, awesome, but you're not expected to. So that's okay.
I see. Okay, the idea of doing nothing just feels so counterintuitive, especially on a character like Tracer, where her like thing is getting around to everywhere
Now,
at the speed of sound.
It should be like noted, right? Like this is how you break first point in Numbani, right? And different points, like on second, where you know where the support's setting up, you try to find a different engage angle where maybe you have many advantage, right? So it's not like you always do that every single spot in every single map. It's just specifically here you're gonna be doing nothing, but on like second, maybe you find an engage, like okay, do you know where the support's
stairs.
holding the back? Yeah, you can take those stairs, then you have many, right? So that's sick. That's awesome for you. Then you have the advantage, and it makes it super, super easy for you to get into their backline. But like at that point, like there's also like different situations where like a flex DPS, like if they have like a Genji or an Echo, they might try marking you if you take those stairs because they're pretty aggressive. So it's like different kinds of things. You'll just like think about it. You'll play Tracer more. You'll work out where your strong engages angles are, where your minis are, where your megas are even, and you'll find your success. It just takes a bit of practice and a bit of learning where you like to rotate, because each Tracer player is a little different. There's general ideas about where you want to play. Better players can VOD for that. I'm not a Tracer player, so I'm not going to give you the best ones. I just know this one because I know this point pretty well. But in other areas, you can take VODs and then you can get better at those. Anyone else have questions? And do you have questions? Because you weren't here.
No, I'm good.
All right, sick. Then that's all I'm going to look at for Numbani. That's all I wanted to talk about. Because I think we were missing some basic micro stuff, and I want to make sure everyone knew what they were supposed to be doing. Other than that, I think we did okay. Is there any maps, comps, anything that anyone is interested in? We can go over. I don't really have anything in mind, but I'm down to do whatever. Matt's here too. Matt's the goat.
Yeah.
The goat, the streamer.
So I'm pretty sure that J Dynasty is the last VOD before the codes got reset, or after the codes got reset.
I guess also another thing I could talk about. I don't think I talked about this yet. I told Matt in DMs.
You haven't, no.
I can talk about the differences between Kiri and Brig in Junker Queen comp. So I did watch a bit of the VOD from the last scrim because I wasn't there. Matt talked about Brig and Kiri. So you guys can decide if you want to run Brig or Kiri. I think it'd be better if you did Kiri personally, but I want to explain the differences so everyone understands. Brig is a lot better at keeping her DPS alive. She has packs. We just talked about it in dive. Packs are super, super good for your DPS. They let them play way more aggressive. Specifically, Karo on the Genji is going to love to have a Brig over a Kiri. Then Kiriko is a lot better for your tank. Kiriko is single target healing, and it's going to keep your JQ up very, very well compared to the Brig. I know Brig has like AoE heals and stuff, which is cool, but it's not as good as Kiri typically right now, especially because the main idea in Junker Queen comp right now is that Junker Queen is so mega overpowered that there's just no point in doing anything other than pocket your Junker Queen. So it's typically why Kiriko is considered better right now. But hey, maybe we decide this guy's fucking shit at Queen and Karo's a god at Genji. At that point,
So
we
true.
decide, hey,
So
maybe Brig
true.
is just better. Because if Karo's like carrying that hard compared to an Ant, Brig's just gonna be doing more, right? Because Brig's pocketing someone who's gonna be getting more value. Personally, I think Ant's fine. I think Ant's gonna be better at Queen. I think Ant might be better at Queen than me. So I think Kiri might be the play. But if you guys think otherwise, you guys can run Brig. Brig isn't bad. Also keep in mind in like future Junker Queen metas, when this queen hopefully gets nerfed because she's crazy OP right now, Brig will likely be better. Because typically this game is a DPS ran game. It's just in this specific meta the tank is running it. So in the future, expect to be playing Brig and Junker Queen comp. Just right now, Kiriko's better. Is that gonna make sense too to everyone?
Mhm.
Makes sense to me.
Yes, I love being pocketed.
Hi,
Alright.
Aunt.
Anyone have any maps?
I'm Eddie.
I'm glad you made it. Glad the PC didn't really die.
Yeah, we're just having a hard time turning on.
I hate it when that happens.
Oh,
Ooh.
relatable.
That'll
huh,
happen as
Kitty?
you get older.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Nah.
Oh,
Oh, also,
What's
Coach
happening?
channel.
PSI, I want to talk to you about. I know you're struggling a bit in the Queen comp as Ash. Part of that might be on you. Part of that might be on Sumu. But I also want to just let you know,
What?
Ash is
What do you
super. Ash
What
is
do you
super good in Queen comp right now, but Ash does die a lot in Queen comp right now. So part of it is also just the character. He's still better than a lot of the other DPS right now because Dynamites into specifically enemy Queen comps are really good right now. If they're not on Queen, you can swap off. But a lot of the times, like you guys know how we run Genji Ash, right? A lot of the top teams are running Genji Ash in their Queen comps right now, and typically what happens is both Genjis will go on the other team's Ash, and then both Ashes die. It's pretty much what happens. And then it's just a 4v4 after that. So PSI, if you're struggling,
Actually, regarding that, I remember watching the VOD, like in that very specific scenario,
yeah.
I think Death Star told me like I could have probably stayed with my Ash behind, to try and peel for her, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
So
there's probably things you can do, right? Like I'm sure I mean we're not super good at the game yet, right? We're still Diamond Masters level, right? So we still have room to improve. So PSI, I'm sure there's things you can do better. Sumu, I'm sure there's things you can do better. But part of it is also just this kind of how the meta works right now.
I love Genji meta where my other DPS player doesn't get to play the video game.
Yeah. PSI, I'm sure that's not what you wanted to hear at all. So I'm sorry about that. But that is kind of the case. So if you die and you feel like it's your fault, I mean, part of it is probably right, but don't feel too shitty about yourself or anything like that.
You get to have fun in the monkey comps. Kara gets to have fun in the queen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I should just have perfect aim and then it won't be a problem.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you should just be GML.
Just toggle, get yourself in a flats video.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
they don't like
Hey, look.
I mean, what? Huh?
Reported.
Hey, if Ons can do it, you can too. Get your grind on.
Ash is fine in that comp, honestly.
Right,
Yeah,
cool.
Thank
Sick.
you.
Do we have any thoughts, guys? I've asked this a million
And
times.
the other support on the is Lucio, right? Because I know when we got reviewed, the
Wait,
I
which?
remember the guy's name, but he said I should have swapped to Mercy if we have an Ash. So is it still valid, or you want me to
This
stay
is-
on
this-
Lucio?
This is where I leak, guys. This is where I leak. I don't like the Dead Star guy. I really
No?
don't.
Well, do you want me
I
to find
don't
somebody
like him.
else?
I think okay, here's my personal takes, right, Money? I think he is better at the game than me, right?
Yes.
But I also learn things from people who I think are better than him, and those conflict with what he says a lot of the time. So if you guys want to take advice from him, right, that's technically better than taking advice from me. He's better at the game for me. He is more like whatever you want to call him, like I forgot the word. I forgot the fucking.
Can I hit up
He's
those
better.
coaches and hire them then?
If you're paying money,
you're
my
hiring
God,
them, Mighty. You're spending money for us. That's crazy.
if you're paying money, money, Mighty, I 100% got a coach that would love to do it for you.
Yeah?
Um,
Hey, send
yeah.
me the DMs.
It's called King Coffee.
It's Malcolm.
No. No.
Oh wait, we're getting Malk.
I go to Malk all the time. I think Malk's so smart about this game. And
Yeah.
he's
But
getting-
isn't Malk your friend? So that's like using your friend. I
okay.
don't know
Well,
if I want to do
yes.
that.
That's free
Yeah.
advertisement. Wow, how
I
dare
think
you?
Whoa, getting
I
paid in
think he'd be down to
exposure.
VOD you guys, whether
Shameless.
you want to pay him or not. I think he'd vote. I think he'd
Shameless.
VOD even for free.
Shameless.
But he's getting
Shameless.
he's playing in like scrims right now, or in like 4-4 something like that. And he's getting coached from like a top OD coach. And the guy, I mean, I've seen the scrims. Malkery streams his scrims. That guy's so fucking smart. I just
What
I
what
really
role does he play?
He's flex support.
Okay.
Valkyrie the coach for Valkyrie. Valkyrie's flex support. I don't know if the
Mhm.
coach for him plays.
Okay.
One of
Um,
these days there will be a coach that's actually a DPS player, surely.
Well,
mean,
my
I
tinfoil,
actually-
my tinfoil hat theory is Deadstar is a DPS player, and that's why he's got an absolute chub for mercy pockets.
No, he's a tank
Maybe.
player. He
Oh wait,
peaked,
really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
sent you the
okay,
profile.
No,
Anyways,
no
that's
He peaked
surprising.
DPS player smart enough to coach. Hate to
294
see
tank.
it.
Anyways, Froggy, to get to your question, I think Lucio is better than Queen Comp. I think if you guys are gonna run Mercy, you should comp swap. But Mercy
Oh,
can
fuck.
probably still be played in Queen Comp, and I think you can make that swap if you want. I just don't think it's as
But
good.
isn't the problem like
Uh,
when you guys play with Lucio, you're not playing Lucio properly, you're not getting any value from Lucio, so that's why you should
So-
swap. Like
No.
that's the point.
I think
So
I think that's
the answer to that is get value from Lucio speed.
yeah. I think
Okay.
that yeah.
So is
We
it
just
on
have to-
Froggy Bear to be like,
Answer,
alright, we're speeding
skill
here,
issue.
or is it like both
I-
a
I
synergy
don't-
between
half-
Ant and Lucio?
I don't think
I'd
that's
say half and half.
Um, I think part of it might be, to be honest, we'd have to look at a VOD. Part of it could be, hey, maybe Ant's making bad rotates, maybe Froggy's not speeding when he should be, or maybe the enemies are just playing in shit positions to the point where we don't need Lucio, where we don't need him in support. It could be any of the three. But to be honest, I'd bet there's situations where it is all three differently. I bet Ant fucks up sometimes. I bet Froggy fucks up sometimes, and I bet the enemy is just shit sometimes.
I
I'm sure
mean,
that
you
will
guys
happen.
should mess up.
My
'Cause you're
my
not,
main
like,
purpose is
perfect.
to speed the queen around, right? No.
Yes,
Pretty much.
So remember, there's speed amp, which is what Lucio has, and there's shout, what Queen has. Speed amp and shout do not stack. They have to be
Yeah.
used at different times. That's important. I didn't know that actually. When
I didn't know that either.
That's
I
important to
thought
guys
they
understand.
stack up to a certain point with the speed cap.
I've been told they do not stack, and while playing the comp, it seems like they don't stack. So maybe it does stack a little bit, but I've been told they don't stack, and it doesn't seem like they stack. So what you do typically is you use your Lucio speed to rotate through different kinds of like poke areas or rotates that are just generally hard to make because Queen's really shit at rotating, right? Queen has no kind of survivability while rotating. She just fucking dies. So Lucio speed is used through rotate. Then you use shout. Depending on like kind of like where your HP bar is at for your team. Sometimes it's at the very start of the fight. Sometimes it's mid fight. Maybe you don't have to use Lucio speed to rotate through a poke angle, so you can use it to get into the fight, and then you can shout mid fight to keep your survivability up during the middle of the fight. Those are different kinds of things you can do. It's just important you guys understand not to stack them. So like that's another reason we don't speed amp and shout at a spawn is because it's the same fucking speed. But then the other reason
Real
is
quick,
shout belongs to that.
I just did a little bit of research. So Lucio amp is 60% movement speed.
Mhm.
Jugger
Queen
Queen
is 30.
shout is 30%. The cap is plus 75%.
Okay, so it's
They're
15%
getting
more.
half the speed from shout.
Okay, so yeah, probably not worth. Still technically a boost, probably not worth. Not worth. My team doesn't stack it. I don't know a team that does stack it. It's not worth stacking.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'm telling you that I'm very careful not to amp speed when somebody shouts. So
Well, it's like
I'm cognizant of this. So yeah, good.
it's good you think about it. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal if you mess it up, I guess, but yeah, it's good you think about it at least. Do we want to go over Junker Queen map? Do we feel like that's needed, team? We can talk about rotates maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good
Which
idea.
one?
Let's go.
What's
Like,
a
Green or
map we
town?
would
probably
like to
one of the
rotate?
things we're worse at.
I guess
Shambali.
oh, this one's quirky. I remember seeing this one actually. I think. Well, we'll see. There's
I
probably
don't
more.
remember
Yeah, you
playing
came
it, so I
back
probably
like,
trauma blocked it.
through.
Is this the one you guys?
This is the
fucking
one where like
know?
Ant
This is
had
the one where we
ultimate
sat in the
and
corner and then went like, we.
oh wait, no, never mind. That's Shambali. I thought you were doing Junkertown.
Alright. So there's kind of two options here for where you guys want to start on attack. The first option is you guys all walk up left side and take their high. The second option is you guys play on cart and then force them to drop into you. So you guys should take high, I think. Typically that's considered better. Sometimes it's really hard, especially in the poke comps. But what do you guys do? Let me see. Play the VOD. We should be ideally speed amping up here and then having our Genji walk in front of us with deflect. This was super scuffed. Okay, also we're on Moira. I don't like Moira at all.
Okay.
I know Matt says it's okay. I don't like it at all. I'll be honest. Here, go back a little bit. Let's look at this engage. We're gonna actually look at it. I want to see how our team is stacked. Just pause it like mid rotate. Okay, are we committing speed amp right now?
No.
Okay, speed amp should be.
I
committing
think
now.
we purposely. He asked me not to amp, if I remember right, but
Okay.
I might be
Well then,
mistaken.
maybe it's not in Froggy. We should be amping here though. Well, whoever it might be on, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. We should be amping here now, and then Karo should be in front deflecting this. Because Karo, you'll get a million ult charge for deflecting it, and then no one on our team dies. I know Sumi gets picked right away here, so that's really bad. With Sumi getting picked like this, you guys have two options. Option one is int super fucking hard and end the fight immediately. Option two is just leave because it's already lost. It doesn't really matter which one you do. Either way, you should lose the fight. I guess like there's a chance you win the fight if you go for the engage, but you're also feeding more ult charge, so I guess it's up to you really. It's just important you commit. You guys are doing a lot of poking right now. That's really bad. You don't want to do that. It's important that you guys understand that Queen comp is the weakest during rotates. I said this earlier, right? So the only like typically if you're going to die on a Queen comp, it's mid rotate, which is what just happened, right? But it also means if you guys stay in like the middle of that alley, which is like you're not in them and you're also not out, it means you're in the worst spot you can be. You want to be in or out. You don't want to be between. So that you should think about that. Like at all times, you want in or out. Okay, we go. We have Karo forcing cart here. Not Karo, sorry. PSI forcing cart here. I don't think this is super bad, but okay, well, you two please in. If you guys have like PSI forcing cart at a spawn, I don't think it's super bad, right? Because you guys are gaining cart progress at least. But you should also keep in mind it's technically not good because you guys are going to be fighting 4v5, which is not good.
I just want to watch what happens here.
All good, all good.
Okay. You should have been healing way more there, Sumo.
What?
Like wrapping around this side of the pillar and keeping Ant up.
Oh yeah. Oops.
Yeah. I was looking. I wanted to look if you had resources or not. But yeah.
He got
Okay.
burned real fast, so I don't know. It would have
Mhm.
mattered.
I blame ML7.
I blame ML7.
True.
Right. Second dies here. Yeah,
I think he
Discord
would have got Axe off if someone was healing him.
So,
It would still
can
been
we real
close.
quick-
Yeah.
Can we real quick go back to the start of the engage and see who they're looking at?
All right here.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. I want to see them
Uh.
walk. Look at Ant specifically.
Okay.
Show me. What's he do? We're walking in, right? And we're looking at the same.
Wait.
Okay.
See anything going on?
So typically, Ants, when you're playing like a queen comp against another queen comp, front to back is okay. Because you'll look at the queen, right, and it'll force resources. Similar to a Rhine comp, right? You look at the Rhine against a Rhine, and you're forcing resources, and it makes it super easy. You even forced Amo by looking at the Sig here. The problem is they're playing Bap Zen. Bap Zen is considered typically as a pretty greedy backline because it's pretty easy to kill. It's double flex support, and most double flex support comps are. But you die very quickly to Discord. So it's important that like maybe if you guys thought about it, you could speed amp in, you'd all run super deep, and then you could shout once you're literally inside them, and all five of you could shout, and then you just keep walking on the Zen. It's pretty difficult to do, kind of. It makes the rotate pretty hard. So that's why you guys could also take the play style of, hey, we're gonna have our queen set on cart, try to avoid taking poke, the rest of us are sitting behind a corner, and then once one of them drops, we fucking jump on them like fucking sharks in the water. That might be a little bit easier against our comp. But if you just look at their Sigma, typically, and you're in like this, it's pretty rough. And you get discorded and die, and that's what happened. So you could say, hey, Sumi messed up by not healing, but also you made it pretty difficult for yourself to live.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good call to just because I feel like oftentimes when we take these fights or we just don't get any progress and then like we end up having to back up and lose the advantage we got in the fight anyway. Is it a good call to say like Reaper force cart and then TP up when I engage?
So if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna have someone force cart, you'd probably have Genji do it instead, and then you guys would all kind of sit in the little room that's like into the left of the high ground. If you know what I'm talking about, like under.
Yeah.
You guys would sit in there, chill, not doing anything. Your Genji's gonna force cart. Once you can't force cart anymore, then you can go.
Okay.
You don't really want to take a fight 4v5. But if you want to force cart, that is okay, right? Because if our cart's moving, we're winning. You guys should think of it that way. Think of it that way. If you guys are in attack and the cart is moving, you are winning at that time. Because it's the objective, right? It's what matters. If you guys don't want to do that and you want to take this fight 5v5 just on high, that's okay too. You guys don't have to do that. You can take this fight, win this fight, have someone go cart, maybe even 2 people go cart, and 3 of you can go take a ton of space up main and then force resources out as they take space and kite, and then your other 2 people will catch up and you take a 5v5 fight, but you're up resources.
Yeah. As long as the cart gets to like here, then this high ground isn't usable by the enemy team anymore because it's going to be behind the point and you just keep walking the cart and they can't do anything. You just walk the cart past them.
I will mention, typically forcing cart first before taking a fight is better. There's just some maps in specific different spots where it might you don't have to. This is one of them. You don't have to force cart here. It's just typically considered better. On Blizzard World, it is a big example of when it is considered better to force cart before you take a fight. There's pretty much never a situation where you have to force a fight before you make progress with cart. But because of the nature of this high ground and how it's pretty easy to get cart past this area, that's super easy to hold on first. You don't have to force cart right away. You can just try to speed run to take the high because the high is what matters. So other than that, it doesn't matter. If even like if you take the high ground and you force them off a high ground and don't even kill them, you just force them away and then you force cart. That's fine too. The only purpose of taking this fight isn't necessarily to win the fight; it's to take high, because high is the advantage for them. But yeah, continue, I guess. All right. So in progress. We lose this fight too. I will also say I think Reaper's okay here right now. I've been talking to the people better than me. They think that if we're not gonna run, okay, you swap Echo. I was gonna say if we're not gonna run like Ashe or Genji, Echo's typically pretty solid. She's strong right now, and she fits well in the comp, and it's pretty survivable. So that's a good swap. I'm glad you made that. Reaper and Mei are the characters we've talked about being in it, right? And they're okay, but you should think of them as like B tier kind of characters. Echo's like an A tier, and then Genji and Ashe and Tracer are all kind of like S tier. You could also make an argument for like Sojourn in this comp. Sojourn I'd also probably put it A tier, but I don't think Soju. I mean, Soju's in your pool side, right? So you could play that too. But Echo's
It's
probably
decent
better.
enough.
Those are options though.
I think on first I'd probably be more likely to get more done with Echo, but I guess
Yeah, I
dependent
think-
on the other team as well.
Yeah, and then there's also like different maps. I like this map. I like Echo more. I agree. But Sojourn's one you can think about in the future. I know Tracer's technically better, but I know neither of you really like Tracer too much. But continue. Go ahead. I like that you guys are forcing cart, but you don't need so many people to peek. What you can do is you can have your queen or your Genji sit cart, and the rest of you play in the room on our current left. And then once they drop, then you guys can speed amp out and then jump onto them. Right now, you guys are super split, so if they do drop, you guys are fucked. Well, then they're not gonna drop, right? They're a poke comp, but in other situations, right, it'd be pretty bad for you. And right now, it's just super easy for them to like, I don't know, cut somebody off. At least the queen, right? So think about that. Play on the left, so you guys don't have to go on the right here.
Mhm.
They are rotating. If you see this rotate, it's important you call it because the people in the back can actually walk up now through main. But
Are they just giving this high for free?
they're just giving the high for free. Typically, what they would do is Sig would drop and then they'd still have high, which makes it pretty rough. But that's why you guys would be on the right because then you could all run out in the Sig. I know I said when you guys go on high, Sig's pretty rough to go on, which still holds true here, but it's kind of like your only option. What you could do also is if Sig drops, you guys could call the speed amp through the left room, and then you guys could go take high, and the Sig wouldn't be there. That would make it easier too. That's another option. But they just end up making a poor rotate and make this fight really easy for you guys. The Hanzo's even in the middle of you for some reason. So you guys took this fight, and it's won. Good job. The rotate, I'm going to be honest, was a little poor from you guys, but you made it work. That's what matters. It's important you guys take space. We're doing. Have someone on cart. Make sure you know who's on cart, but you guys want to keep pushing hard like you are. It's really good. Who do we have on cart, actually?
I think it's Froggy, yeah.
Okay, Froggy, that's fine.
Did Ant need to ult there?
Okay, did Ant ult there? Okay, Ant, you probably shouldn't have ulted there.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think I said that at the time.
I got a little excited.
I
Queen
was in
ult,
a silly, goofy mood.
Queen ult, pretty hard to find value with sometimes because like Lucio and Kiri exist. Their comp doesn't have that though, so Queen ults are super good for you. So you should be very greedy with them, and this is the opposite of greedy. This is like the safest Queen ult you could have ever. Okay. We have Cole here, so you guys should be planning to take space with Cole, maybe even Blade too. So you guys could have like you could have it like you could be so aggressive as to have your Queen and your Genji on the corner. Like perfect. Like, you guys are kind of doing that. You guys are giving space though. Like okay, well they're given, I guess. But like think about it, right? So what would happen is if Queen and Genji were on the left side on the corner, right? Someone would be forced to drop the contest cart, and then you could have your Lucio with your Queen and your Genji, and then you guys just speed amp into their backline, and then you could one of two things is gonna happen. Either they're gonna fight without like their Sigma because their Sigma is gonna be the one touching, or they're all gonna drop and then you stole their high. Either of those are super good situations for you guys. But they didn't contest because they didn't want to. I guess they gave up. They thought it wasn't fun. Or, well, there's that, and then also you guys aren't ready for that rotate. PSI, I see you on the angle on the far right. Having an off angle like that is okay, but it's important to understand that off angles are strong during the mid fight, not pre fight, right? So the idea behind an off angle is our tank and someone else is gonna walk in, our team's gonna walk in, right? And then all the people are looking at like ants, right? Everyone's looking at ants. At that point, you reveal you're on the off angle, and then they have to turn their attention and commit resources into just surviving the off angle, which then makes it easier for Ant to take the fight, and then also just fucks with them really hard. I don't know, but like I don't know how to describe it. I think that makes sense though. But like
Kind of like the half-second.
yes, like they're not looking at you, right? With the off angle you took just now, it was pre-fight, and so then they forced you out before the fight started, which is bad.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna go for poke, you can kind of just go with poke with your Queen, pre-fight,
Yeah.
and then you can farm copy or whatever.
Yeah,
But
for example,
off angles are good. Both of our
no.
DPS here, you guys should be trying to think about off angles. Off angles are super strong right now on pretty much every character in the DPS role that's played. So you guys should both think about them. You just have to understand when it's okay to off angle. And it's also important you communicate with your team that you are off angling, because it's important that Ant will understand, hey, I don't have this hero with me at this time, but it's okay because there's gonna be pressure applied from over here, because it maybe changes how Ant wants to take the fight. Anyways, you can continue. We still have alts like Cole and Blade. Shout was used. Okay, you guys are kind of taking the fight. Okay, so this was a poor fight for a few different reasons. If you go back, you saw PSI was flying back towards point because he was low. So we're taking a fight at this point without our Echo. Whether you want to say, hey, this is on Ant for not asking if his team ready, or if it's on PSI for not calming that he's not ready, it is a problem. That should
It's
be noted.
partially on me. I tried to land on the ridge and I was like an inch too low.
Okay, so
I think even if you'd land here, you kind of just die.
Yeah, you are.
Because you're half
Potentially, yeah.
health.
So there's that to note. Also, if we're gonna go with Shout like super early, you could speed amp in first and then Shout after. Remember, Shout is a tool for survivability, so you don't have to engage with it. It's just like if you have speed amp, it's just if you don't have speed amp or you're crossing a super long distance, then you might have to Shout at the beginning. Also, if we're engaging, we want to use Cole here. Cole's like a super strong engage ult. It's literally one of the reasons Matt thinks Moira is good in this comp. Is because Cole is a strong engage, right? So if we're gonna have Cole, right, and you should plan, hey, we're playing in this fight.
I will clarify. I don't think Moira is good anymore because of the comp swaps we've made. Because we're no longer playing a death ball.
Okay. So there's that. But
So swapping back to carry here is definitely worth.
and then if we're gonna commit Cole, you might as well commit Blade too, because Blade is dog shit. I'm sure Kara knows that.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Just commit Blade at any possible chance that you might be able to get a kill, and then it's a fine Blade.
I mean, I'm still like stuck in the Overwatch 1 mindset where Blade is a kill everything button, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, from this
They should-
point, it's 3 ults for 1, so it's kind of worth.
I will also say, real quick, that I think typically in this comp, Blade is best paired with Queen Ult, because remember, Queen Ult, we have to wait out two things. We have to try to get rid of Beat, and we have to try to get rid of Suzu. If they have a Kiri, right, and Suzu, you have to wait that out. If they have a Lucio and they're not going to beat, you might have to Queen Ult. It forces beat, and then after that, you can Blade. That's an option. Ideally, they get rid of Beat and Suzu though before fight, because if they do, then it's just a free fight with Queen Ult. But that tends to be best when it is like that. Oh my god, I can't speak. That tends to be the best time to Blade, is with Queen Ult. But because it kind of into the fight before, I think it's okay with Cole. But you should probably not Blade alone.
And
And
that's
if you are
another
gonna-
reason. Oh,
Yeah, if you are gonna Blade alone, you're gonna do like a dry Blade, naked Blade with fucking nothing. The plan shouldn't be to win the fight or to get kills. The plan should be, hey, I'm gonna force resources. If you call, hey, I'm gonna Blade, I'm gonna force Suzu, and then you can Queen Ult. That's okay, because Blade is so bad right now.
Just zoning ult.
if they're running Lucio Brig, then you will cry because they shouldn't beat the Queen ult ever,
Yeah.
and so you want to use the. You're not going to get a free blade off, even if you're trying to bait cooldowns with the Queen ult.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's kind of where we're at. So this Blade is not good. But you're also stuck in a flux. I'm sure you know that. I guess you technically force Trank with it. But it shouldn't have forced Trank. It definitely should not have. Definitely not at all. Anyways, BGG. We go next fight. That's okay. We still have Cole. We have Copy. Copy can be used for a few different things right now, to be honest. You could copy the Sig and just Flux, because that's OP. Especially after they use Trank, it's a free Flux, and that just wins a fight. Another option would be like Hanzo, if you're comfortable in Hanzo, because I know you're not specifically comfortable in Hanzo. Torb can be decent. I also like BAP, I'm going to be honest, because of Immo. That copying for just cooldowns is important, and you can say, hey, Queen, you can literally int on the Zen for free because I Immo you. And then you also get extra healing from Sumu. So it's pretty unlosable if you copy BAP in this specific fight.
Still feeling it out. It kind of feels like cooldowns or survive right now,
Yeah.
just because it's gotten so much harder to build ult.
Yeah, it's harder to build ult, but then also like it's like back in Overwatch 1 is like always copy a tank right now. Now you can't do that, but you can copy tanks all the time, but you don't have HP to do it like for free. So there's that to think about too. So DPS and support copies are viable because of that. So it's kind of whatever you're feeling in the moment. But it is important that before we go for a copy, you should call who you're going to try to copy, because that's going to change how Ant plays. And it's
Gotcha.
important. Like, so PSI, if you call that, it's cool, and you should be the one asking for it. I always ask my Echo, hey, what are you copying? So you should ask for it, because you're also probably calling that he's going to copy Ant. So it's important to note. Just PSI, think about it, answer, and then go for it.
Yeah, I'll
PSI
try to comment, but it's one of those things where I might need to just panic
Yeah, look,
copy.
if you're
So
if
when
you're
I
Yeah,
ever in
yeah,
a situation where you can't copy what you want to copy, that's fine. It's just ideally you copy what you're trying to copy.
I like taking the flex support options personally.
That's because you're like a
Because
flex support player, right? Typically.
it's my best role. So
Yeah, yeah.
that
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, Discord and MO just do so much.
they do a lot. They do a lot. So those are things to think about, I guess. But it's important to call that. Then we still have Cole. You guys still don't plan to use Cole, so make sure you're asking for Cole. All right, that's unfortunate. Go back. What happened? We got poked out. Okay. So we make a rotate from over here. So this rotate is normally a pretty strong rotate because it brings us semi close to where we're trying to get to. The problem is making this rotate into their comp specifically. It's a really long rotate, like in terms of sightline. Like look at it, you can be so far back and shoot so far back from the sightline. It's like if you were playing Widow, it'd be perfect, but it's also perfect for Zen and Bap and Sig and Hanzo and Thor. Which makes it really rough. It's a lot easier if you guys try to send your supports left side here, and you could like most of them are gonna be in the high ground window, right? So you could speed amp to get left side, not that one, the main one. Like when you guys are crossing like low, like go back, like down, right. When you guys are walking over here across the point gap, they'll be in the window top right. You guys know what I'm saying? Matt's lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be here. They're gonna
I
be
was
here.
so
when you guys are trying
confused
to
what you
make this
meant.
rotate. They're gonna be here when you guys try to make this rotate. So you could speed amp here and go left and then shout. This would also be a perfect time for PSI to be taking the off angle on the right side. It's as soon as we commit shout in, then PSI you reveal you're on the off angle, and then it's like a huge pincer because they're gonna be in the main window, right? They're not gonna be back like super far back where they were.
I
So
think
it's
the
a perfect combo.
communication thing there that we'll need to get down is sometimes we try to do pincer moves like that where we engage and I can go off angle, and
Yeah.
sometimes we split like that and then it's poke for a little bit, and then I just
Well,
get forced out. So maybe we
it's
just communicate that's the plan.
yeah, it's
With
important.
that.
to
with Queen,
communicate.
it should never really be poke first and then go in.
Yeah, but so it's important. It's like it's an option. This should all be done fight planning. I know, and you're still working a lot on fight planning, right? Because I've told you there's a million billion things you can do with it. And you got the basics down, right? That's great. But you're going past that. So these are like different kinds of things you can think about. I don't expect you to be able to do it anytime soon, by the way. But they're things you can try to think about. So there is that. But then, yeah, I think you guys should make the rotate left side because it denies the huge ass sightline that their entire team values from. Because remember, that's what Poke wants to do, is use a giant ass sightline. So you guys kind of walked into that, and that's why he lost his fight. It was just your rotate pre-fight. All right, cool. Go next. Continue.
Okay, so
Well,
I think there's a miscommunication on where.
Okay, yeah, we are a little lost, aren't we? We're a little split, but it's okay. Fight's lost anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's a huge pick. I mean, it doesn't matter at all, but it's huge anyways.
Chris Paul has huge 3 to cut the lead down to
Okay.
42.
Yeah, Cole, not super great because we lost 2. Was it popped? I think it was popped right as Froggy died. So that's not a problem, I guess, right? You can't super react to that super well. Okay, it was.
No, it was long after.
Okay, yeah, so not a great Cole because the fight's lost. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm a tank player. I should watch the kill feed, and I don't. I don't at all. I really have to, and I don't. But it is super important for all of you to do it too. So I don't expect you guys to be watching the kill feed because I don't, and it's unfair to expect you guys to be able to do things that I don't do. But it is super important, and it's something you all have to work on. If you guys lose 2 pre-fight, it's a lost fight. Don't commit. It's not worth. It's not worth. Unless if this ant guy goes and purples 5 people with queen ult and they're all 1 HP, and then we lose 2 and then 5 are about to die, so we can win the fight. That's an okay time to ult. But for all of you, if 2 people are dead, it doesn't matter. Don't. It's just not worth. It's just not worth. You can reset, go next. It's okay. It's fine. It feels shitty to make an engage through poke and lose 2 right away and not do anything. It's like, damn, we just wasted 40 fucking seconds, but it happens. So that's okay. You don't have to try to turn it. And also, I know in this specific situation, it was assuming that I was being the silly guy, but I swear and promise all 5 of you have done this. I promise you.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Sometimes I'll kill 3 and then press Q, and then my entire team is dead, and then I throw even harder.
So you guys are making this rotate. I like this rotate. Let's make it closer. And you took a lot of. Okay. That's what
I got spooked. I got a little bit spooked. My bad.
So you lost half your HP, right? I would have just immediately turned back and said, "Okay, Zumi, heal me up." I trolled a bit. That's what I would have done. Instead, you commit a little bit harder. I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm in a bad spot. I'm gonna shout."
Oh, that's just an unfortunate Hanzo
which
window.
is which is just like,
Yeah, I was.
yeah, you don't want to. If you guys shout pre-fight, you have to reset. You guys cannot win without shout. That is the biggest cooldown in your kit. It is bigger than fucking MO. I'd argue it's bigger than any of your ults. Shout is the thing that makes or break Queen comp. So it's important you guys
Can I
understand
just
that.
say I don't like playing this Moira in this one specifically?
So
Yeah.
the main thing with Moira is Moira and Reaper together just turn Queen into a massive death ball.
Mm-hmm.
And so essentially, like, if you swap the Reaper, you pretty much want to swap the Moira immediately as well. Because the whole thing is the Reaper runs with Queen, and so you're guaranteed getting at least 2 people on your peel at all times. And so you just mega farm coals and like resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're also like kind of split, so I guess I don't.
Well, also we're running like not going to be with Queen, not going to be with Queen, not really going to be with Queen, and so you're never going to be healing more than one person really with this comp right now.
Yeah, okay, I see it.
But yeah, like when we were running Reaper at the beginning, it was going to be the Queen, the Genji's engaging at the front of the team, and so he'll be like in front of the Queen. Queen will be right behind him. Reaper will be right behind Queen, and then Froggy will be, or Lucio will be next to you. And so you're going to be getting basically the entire team in your healing, and because it's 15 meters, like you're going to be like on that straight, you can pretty much stand like you can stand here, and your like healing will reach all the way up to here. And so like
Yeah,
once you reach here as Moira, then you can just heal the entire team pretty much.
and it's easier to like get value off of the orbs too. It seems.
Yeah. Because then you can bounce it here, you can bounce it here.
Just stays over there, you know. It's like it's really hard for it to go away unless I just throw it in the air or something.
Yeah, over here's a bit more awkward.
Yeah, over there it's like
There's
I
a
don't
lot
know.
more like rough walls and stuff. The best one I can suggest is using this up here because this is pretty consistent.
Yes.
But yeah,
Okay. Now also, and I want to say you're making an engage here. I think after window drops, we should have all noticed, and I'm sure Froggy even called it that he died. The Hanzo. I bet Froggy said fuck.
I don't think
My-
it was called. I think it was missed. If I remember.
No, I think I said it. I remember saying that I was picked.
I'm
But
I'm sure something happened. But if someone on our team is picked pre-fight, it doesn't really matter who. That was definitely pre-fight, right? They use window to stop your engage, so we definitely didn't engage. If you guys lose someone like that, it doesn't matter who. Just reset. There's no point. You guys are forcing a 4v5 right now. I mean, you're committing ults. You might even win this fight technically because you're committing so many ults, which I mean isn't a problem. But you guys should just take a 5v5, just wait a bit longer, take a 5v5, and it's more consistent that you guys will win this fight. And because I know in this situation, it probably works, you guys probably win the 4v5. All these situations, that won't be the case. So reset, regroup, and then take the fight. If you lose someone like at the beginning of the fight, you don't have to, but if it's pre-fight, 100% just reset. There's no point.
If any of them had got 100% on their ult, this would have been a lost fight pretty much.
Yeah.
But they're all like 70s, 80s.
Anyways, we copy Sig. We shout in, I think. I think we shouted. I remember seeing that. And we queen ulted too. So yeah, that should just be one. Copy ended. Click on targets. Good pick. And let's fight one. And we copy. So huge. All right, now we have beat for Flux, which is sick. And then we have the farm ults. Okay. So if they just Flux, you guys can try to beat it. If not, you guys can just call for a dry fight. Everyone here knows what a dry fight is, right? I'll take that as a yes. I heard no
Yes,
no's.
sir.
of ults.
If you guys ever want to calm, hey, let's just take a dry fight. That's okay. You guys can do that. Not many. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. You guys don't do it ever. My team did it very rarely, but it's something that should happen somewhat often. You guys should kind of think about it. Dry fights are pretty solid because, especially if you're able to force an enemy ult out. If you're like, hey guys, we know that the fucking Sig has Flux. We're gonna int so hard and make this Flux look like the most beautiful this thing this man's ever had on the entire planet. He's gonna flux. You guys are gonna fucking die, and you guys are gonna build out while doing it. Right? That's a lost fight. But then all of a sudden, we're gonna have Blade, we're gonna have Cole, and we're gonna have Beat, and they're not gonna have flux. Right? So it's a perfect fight plan for us. It's a lost fight, but we have 3 ults, and they just down their like biggest one. Right? So it's okay to do that. Anyways, you can continue. That's something to think about, though. Otherwise, in the current situation that we're in, if you guys don't want to take a drive fight, I know I tell you guys not to poke on Queen, but if you want to poke, like have Ant just take a bit of damage, like a fucking ape, into his brains out, and then farm Cole off of it, that's okay. You can do that. That seems like what we're doing. All right, cool. Now we're gonna have an engage with Cole, and then we're gonna have beat for Flux. Oh, okay. I don't think this is a good beat, Froggy. I get why you did it. It makes sense to me, but your team should be able to kite out with either shout or speed imp. You shouldn't have to beat this. And it
Okay.
seems like your team did kind of get that fun.
Yeah.
If it's mid-fight, Froggy, and you guys are engaged, then I think it's an okay beat. But because it's free pre-fight, that's why I don't like it. I should specify that. Okay, you can continue.
Yeah, and also if you